TryHackMe has a beautiful lab called Insekube. It's about Kubernetes architecture. Here I show you a simple illustration of the tools that we will be really using, and this is called this kubectl. Um, we will be using to interact with the Kubernetes API because all the resources and the pods with and clusters that you can get access to them through the API commands, and kubectl will make it easy for us. We will be working on this. If I show you the contents on the tutorial, we have 7 tasks to complete, and towards the end, we are going to hijack one of the pods in the Kubernetes environment, and we will be then doing a privilege escalation, become the root, and get the flag. I really like this tutorial because it has a lot of hands-on component, which I really like to work on. In task 1, it is a simple task. We are asked to do a port scanning, and I'm using RustScan, which is labeled as the Nmap on steroids. So it gives me quickly the answer that we have port 22 for SSH and port 80 for HTTP are open. Submit. Works perfect. Now the next thing is, I'll close it. The next thing is going to the website and doing a command injection and get a reverse shell. Well, I click the about page, and that is the website. Basically, if I type in the IP address of the target machine, 187 here, you will see that it is sending a ping command. So we can exploit that. We can go to the reverse shell generator. I have my VPN IP and port 123 available. We can use this bash script to get a reverse shell and copy here. So I can come back to the website, and we can do semicolon here, and we can execute the bash for this command given as a string or a big string here, and then check. And now, I forgot to open up my listener, so let me open a new session here. Okay, I have a new session now, and let me call it RCE, remote command execution. I have listener available on port 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will resend this reverse shell command, and I get a callback. Perfect. Now I have, let's see, who am I? So I am the user challenge on this machine, and I am in the user directory, and if I go to the root and do tech LA, I am in a Docker environment. Okay, we got that. So let's go to the command. You will find the flag in an environment variable. So let's talk about this environment variable. So in this tutorial, we are working on a Kubernetes environment, right? So you are creating pods, and you may have a container or containers on the inside these pods. So for the containers, for the resources, you are setting up an environment variables file. So this file shows the environment variables inside, and you can reach it by typing this env command. So I type env. That here shows briefly that I'm in a Kubernetes environment using port secure HTTP port, and I have Grafana services here. So I'll talk about it because it's part of the vertical escalation. But basically, Grafana is a platform for data visualization. We will talk about this. We will, in fact, exploit one of the zero-day exploits on that domain, on that platform. And towards the end, you will see that the flag is hidden. So I now can show you this first flag. Copy. F flag. All right. So to summarize what we have done so far, we had a reverse shell, and using this reverse shell, we were able to reach to the environment variables, and inside the environment variables, we had the flag hidden. We got that. So task number 3 is talking about this picture basically, and it says that the resources on this Kubernetes environment can be uh, accessed through this API server. And this easiest way to reach to the API server or to communicate effectively is using this tool called kubectl. And kubectl is a um, is a what's a um, it's a command line tool that is really helping us send back and forth the comments to the Kubernetes API. Right. And here it says that if you don't have the kubectl, you can use the curl and wget commands. And in our lab, we have it located in temp directory. So let's go to the temp directory. But before I go forward, let me emphasize something here. You see, this challenge is the user account on this Linux machine, but this syringe is the service account for the Kubernetes environment. Don't get confused between the service account of the Kubernetes environment versus the user on this machine, right? So what I will do is I will go to the temp directory and look at the contents. So we have this kubectl. Let me see if I okay, it does have this file binder. Anyways, it's an executor. Well, we are asked to reach out to the pods. In other words, we would like to display the pods in that environment. So we will put kubectl get pods. You see, we get an error message, and the error message says that as service account, not user, I'm sorry, as service account syringe, we are not allowed to see the contents on the contents of the pods, basically. So we have a very limited privilege on this service account. So what we can do is we can use this kubectl of can I. Let me show that to you very quickly. Here, I found this website. So this kubectl of can tech I, that is really to show what actions are allowed on that service account, right? So what privileges we have basically. So I will type kubectl of can tech I. I forgot to put kubectl of can tech I. Okay, error message here. Yes, it's because I forgot to put down the argument. So I put down the function or the request right. So kubectl kubectl of can tech I. Now the argument that I'm looking for is, as shown here, is the list. So I would like to list down the privileges that we have on the service account, and it shows a list of it, right? So this is how we can reach to the API with what orders. And you see, it is the format is close to PowerShell. We have this verb and object format, right? Now, I think there's nothing I need to do on this test just to see what privileges we have on the service account. Now, on task 4, we will now reaching the secrets stored in the Kubernetes environment. So that is the command that we should be running. Let me do that. kubectl get secrets. All right, so these are the secrets stored, and one that looks interesting to us is basically this secret flag. In fact, that's where we have the second flag is stored. So we would like to reach to that flag. So the first comment that we can write is kubectl, and then describe. We would like to see the content on that secret file named secret flag. Right? So describe the verb and then the object. So that's what I meant by PowerShell similarity here. And now I have the response showing that flag has 38 bytes, but the content of the flag has not been revealed on that comment. And what we can do now is we can convert the output to JSON output. And to do that, kubectl get secret, and the object is secret flag. The format is JSON, not FSON, JSON. Okay, this is revealing this JSON output, and here you see we have the flag, right? The flag doesn't look the format we typically see, and it is because it is encrypted using base64. So let me open a new tab, Control-Shift-T, and so we can echo this encrypted text and do a base64 decoding, and that should reveal us the second flag. So now we learned how to reach the secret files, and that we need to also decode the secret based on base64. All right, now we will do reconnaissance inside the cluster, and here we will talk about this service called Grafana. Well, Grafana, as I discussed early in the beginning, it is a platform. It is an interactive data visualization platform. It has a dashboard, or you can set multiple dashboards, and the dashboard is showing the metrics and logs about the Kubernetes environment. So in this tutorial, we will be exploiting one of these zero-day exploits on that Grafana surface, Grafana platform. And basically, the zero-day exploit is such that it is fixed now, of course, but it allowed the malicious actors like us in here to navigate outside of the Grafana folder and remotely access to the files in other locations on the server. So we will be escaping outside the Grafana directory and reach out for the resources on the server. And it is now running on here. So let me show you that to you. So in this environment variable, when I type an env, okay, when I type env, oh, sorry, this is my environment on my Kali Linux machine. So I need to show you the env on the target machine. Okay, here, that's the environment variables on the target machine. Now, so this Grafana service is running on this port, right? And if you look at down here, sorry, it's on IP. So if you go down here, you see that the port number is 3000. So the default port number for Grafana services is 3000. So what we can do is we can curl to that port. So or to this IP and port, or the socket, let's call it. So curl, and I will do HTTP, and the IP address was here 10.108.133.228 and 3000. And I won't get content here because I'm supposed to put this /login. It's also mentioned here. All right. So I will repeat that, curl HTTP 10.108.133.228, and the port number is 3000 and login. Okay, so I have a long text. In fact, the reason we went to this comment is to get the version of the Grafana platform running on this machine. I tried to grab out the version, but it didn't work. But if you do visual inspection towards the middle portion here, you will see the version number is listed. So I can just copy it and paste it here. But I'm sure there is an easy way to grabbing out this information with a single command. All right. So it says, what is the CVE you have found? So I searched on this Grafana exploit, and our version is 8.3.0. And here we have 8.3.0. We have this directory traversal and arbitrary file inclusion exploit. Right. It is a relatively recent one, late 2021. And I have the Python code and such. I like this website, no, not this one, this website, because this website talks about the CVE, which is the question, the answer to this question. We got that. But the reason I like this web page is because if you go down here, it talks about the problem that we discussed. It also gives you the curl command for this directory traversal. So I'll just copy it and paste it on Notepad. This is the command. So here you see this path as is command, and let me show it to you very quickly on why it is necessary. Because when you're having the guest requests, and if you have this format such as this directory traversal, you will see them, it is changed on the way for the GET requests. But we would like it to be unchanged because it's a part of the exploit we're after. So we will keep it path as is. So we don't want any changes on this slashes and points. They will be transferred to the server the same layout. So this is the reason we have this path as is command. And for the local host, I will be putting down the IP address of the Grafana platform, and I can reach it again on this env command. So let me go there here. Okay, so localhost will be replaced by this IP address, which is 10.108.133.228. 10.108. Okay, so that is the malicious code that I need to run and paste here, and the curling path is on this Grafana socket, and I have this directory traversal here. Let's see. Oh, it works. It gives us the etc and password content. Okay, what we can do now is we can replace it with some, we can instead of going to its password, we can go somewhere else inside the server. So where do we going to go? So let's look at that in the next task. So task 6, it shows us that the service account, it has a token, and this token is stored here. So this token really is for authentication purposes, and it says that tokens have an expiration period of 1 hour. All right. So we now know the location where the token is stored, so we can use this directory traversal command and reach out to the token. So let me adjust the code here. Instead of etc password, I will put this here, home. I don't need to have two. So if I insert this command, copy, I will be reaching to the token. Okay, there it is. This is the token. So starts over here all the way to here. There's a token. So this is a long text. So what we can do is copy up. Now, so I messed up. Just to make sure that I'm not changing anything. I will redo that. Okay, so this is the token. So I'll take this token all the way to the here where the username for this Linux machine starts. I will copy it and I will here, let me clear it up. I will echo this. No, sorry, I'm confused. So what I will do is I will take this token and save it into a variable token, let's say uppercase token. So export and token, that's my variable. And I can just paste it now. Okay. So now I have the token info stored as a variable token. Right. Here, that's what I'm trying to achieve. That's what I did. So what we will do now is here is show. We can just follow the instructions here. So using this token, we can list down the privileges. Now we are authenticated, so our privileges will be different. kubectl or can tag I list and token as my argument and put $sign token. Okay, so these are the privileges that can be performed. So following here, so the next step, it talks about other wildcards, but I will focus on this exec command here. So kubectl exec. Well, the purpose for that is to get a shell in a pod. So you can run this you can run kubectl and exec command, and you write down the name of the pod that you are interested in and write down the token, and you can have a bash execution here, and that will give you a shell on that pod, right? But before we do that, we need to list down and see what pods are available. So if I do kubectl get pods, I will get the same error message because I didn't get authenticated. So I will run the same command kubectl get pods, and this time I will present the token as token here, and now it shows me the available pods on this environment. So we have two pods, this and that. They are both running. So I would like to have a shell on this pod. So we will be running this kubectl and then exec and tag it, and I will copy the name of the pod. It's a long name. All right. And then present the token equals $sign token. And then I will execute this bean bash command. I will execute the bash so that I'll get the shell on this Grafana pod. Let's try it. It does. So if I ask who am I am the Grafana. Let's go. I'm inside this Grafana pod basically. So what we can do is, let's see, what's the name of the service account running Grafana service? All right. So in order to get the service account name running on the Grafana service, what we can do is we can look at the token and try to get this data. And if you remember, the token is just long text. So what we will do is let me go up there. So I will go back to this token, which was it's a little bit confusing here. There you go. I have this export token. So this is the token, right? Oh, I should go back first. Okay, so this is the token, right? So the token, I can copy it, and let me show. Okay, this is the token. I can copy it, and let me show you something first. It shows over here that this token is in JWT format. So JWT is JSON web token. So I can put the token, it's in encoded format, and we will get the decoded JSON content. And here on the payload, if you go down, you will see the service account's name is developer. And this is what we are asked to report here. Here, what's the name of service account? So it is developer. We get that. Okay, how many pods are running? We just went through this. We had 2 pods here, Grafana and syringe. So we'll put 2 here. Perfect. And what is flag 3? So if I'm not wrong, the flag 3 is also on this environment settings on this pod here. And this should be, I just typed in env, and I have this flag here. Copy and paste. Okay, we got that. Perfect. So what we will do now as the last step, we will escape from the node. So the question is, how can we really escape from the node? And there is an article here given by TryHackMe, and it explains the Kubernetes pod privilege escalation. And it has a long and easy to read format. I like that. So basically, for the sake of time, I'll focus on the portion that is interesting for us, and that is bad pod number 1. So basically, for privilege escalation or for typical pod setting, we can put together 8 different kinds. And on this pod 1, it is called everything allowed type. And on this, if we can create a bad pod on our environment, and if you have this exec into that pod, which is basically having a shell to that pod, we will have the root privileges. So this is what we are going to do. And the configuration file are given here on this GitHub website in GitHub repository. And in fact, that's also mentioned here as first case example goes to the same GitHub repository. And we can go to the pods and which one? I think that is the one. All right. So this can be this YAML file that we can use. So let's talk about what YAML file is for our application here. What is Kubernetes YAML file? It's a human readable, yes, based human readable text basically, and it has the configuration for the name value pairs like a dictionary and also list of items. So this basically a bunch of configuration text put together for Kubernetes environment. So what we will do is we will basically take this. I will take this raw, and we won't be able to use it directly, and I'll explain the reason for that. It is because that file here is for an Ubuntu image, and in our case we are not we need to modify it with that comment, or we need to add a line for to fix that. So what we can do is this is my Kali machine, so I can clear it out. So I can go to directory that I would like to work on. Okay, so I can use nano here, and I will call it malicious YAML YAML or YML. I just follow the format here. All right, and I can use nano to reach it out and paste it. Okay, this is the YAML file. So what I will do is I don't want to mess up with the tabs and spaces, so I will copy it. Oops. I can go to here and I can paste it. Okay. All right. So what I will do is I will put this here. Okay, so I just added this line here on the YAML file. That's all I did basically. And that's because the environment that I'm working on is not Ubuntu here. So save. Okay, so let's get it out. It looks great. So what we need to do now is we need to transfer this to the Kubernetes environment. And I can just curl it. Or first, hold on. I need to open a Python web server and serve this file over here. All right. Now I can go back to my directory. All right. Let me check that everything is okay. Okay, I'm Grafana. Now, what I will do is I will curl. I will do tag-v http, and I will be connecting to my VPN IP 6.34.212. It's on port 80. I don't need to write down the port number. And the name of the file was mail.yml. All right, and then tag O, and I will save it on this temp directory, and it will be mail.yml. All right, so what is missing here? Curl command not found. All right. In fact, hold on. In fact, it says now you can close Grafana pod shell and continue using first one since it's more stable. In fact, it's probably I don't have the curl on Grafana pod. Let's see. Let's check it out. Curl. Yeah. So I will go back. I will type exit. Go back. So I am now on this first environment. Let's see who we are. So we are challenged on this machine. Okay. So I will use the same command that I just typed in here. All right. All right. As you have noticed, I stopped the video and fixed something. And so let me go through what I have done. First, I went through this command here, as you have seen, and I didn't get a response. So I canceled it and I had this reverse shell back again. The problem is that my understanding is that my Python server was serving in port 80 and I'm not able to send it over port 80. So I stopped this server at port 80 and start a new web server on port 8080, right? Once I have this new server on port 8080, I went to the same settings. I went to the temp directory and run this curl command here. And this time I put 8080 as the port number, and I get this 200 command, so it's transferred successfully. So if I do tech lsla, I have this malicious YAML file, right? So I will just follow these instructions here. So basically, kubectl apply. So now I'm now creating a malicious pod and apply tech f, and I will call it mail.yml, and I will use the token, the same token, and I get an error again. Okay. Interesting. What I'm thinking is now that I may have the token expired. Pod everything allowed. Source default. Okay, so what I can do quickly, I can go back to this routine that I have gone through, which is here, copy. So I can now go back to this curl command again and get the token and replace the token with the new one. So paste clipboard here, and that's the token. So I copy it and I can export this as token. Let me call it new token. New token. And okay, so I will repeat this order here. So kubectl apply f, and the malicious file was mail.yml, and token equals $ new token. Let's see how it works. Okay, perfect. It worked now. So I have the new pod created. So my speculation was correct. In the first attempt, I had my token expired, and this is and I mentioned earlier that the tokens are valid for 1 hour time windows, and I had to stop video to fix something, so it probably took more than 1 hour. So it has to be regenerated. Well, now let's see the content. So how do we see contents? kubectl get pods, and I need to insert to authenticate it. So get this token, new token. Okay. What did I miss now? New token, cube. Okay, I put it wrong. I made a typo here. All right. kubectl get pods authentication for the token and $ new token. All right, now you see I have a new pod. That's my malicious pod, basically, or everything allowed pod. So what I will do is I will run this execution command. So what was that? This command here, basically. Kubectl exec IT, and the pod's name is this. I copy it, everything allow pod, copy and paste. Okay. I need to present the token, and I will be with a new token, and I will run this bin bash binary. And who am I? Root. Nice. Okay. So what should we do now? So where are we? ls. Okay. So for the root, I went through this, but the simplest command to reach out to the root is using the find command, because I have find allowed here, so I can just use the put down the comment that I used. I'm looking for the root txt file in the root directory, so everything in the directory, and I'm excluding the standard output, and it may take a while to get this response back. Okay, so it is host root txt, so I can just copy it and cat it. Okay, here is the flag. Perfect. So this lab is complete. I like this lab. I highly recommend you to practice on this. To summarize everything so far, we are working on a Kubernetes environment, and we exploited one of the vulnerabilities on the platform called Grafana. They have a zero-day exploit, and that exploit really allows the user to go outside of the Grafana directory and reach out to the files inside the server. And we also practice on how to use this kubectl, which is the easiest way to access and modify the resources. And the way it works is that it gets a connection, or it's an effective communication with the API server. And I find this lab very useful and helpful in the way to show the big picture of the Kubernetes environment.